Africa has seen a decline in the number of authoritarian leaders since 2010. Multiple countries witnessed significant political changes due to popular uprisings, but the number of democracies has not noticeably increased. My colleague Paul Ndiho has more on the story.
The Africa Center for Strategic Studies says a large number of African governments are in a democratizing stage and still have a long way to go. It's a new era in Sudan. Abdel Fattah al-Burhan is the new chairman of Sudan's newly formed Sovereign Council. 9 other members were also sworn in at the presidential palace in Khartoum. The Sovereign Council was the result of tense negotiations between the country's pro-democracy leaders of mass protests, which erupted last December against the 3-decade rule of former President Omar al-Bashir and the generals who ousted him in April. Political analysts say Western-style liberal democracy is being tested, especially in countries where some of the world's longest-serving leaders continue to hold power. President Theodore Obiang Nguema Mbasogo of Equatorial Guinea has ruled for 40 years since August 1979. In Cameroon, 85-year-old President Paul Biya extended his 36-year rule. In 2008, the Cameroonian parliament voted to change the constitution to remove term limits so President Biya would be eligible to extend his time in office. Incumbent President Yoweri Museveni of Uganda is still going strong. In December 2017, Uganda's parliament voted to lift the age limit for the presidency, setting the stage for Yoweri Museveni to rule indefinitely. Museveni pushed to change the constitution in 2005 to abolish the presidential term limits. Idris Deby has ruled Chad for 28 years. He won a 5th term in 2016, and without term limits, he could keep running until he dies. In Congo, Brazzaville, Denis Sassou Nguesso repealed term limits in 2015 and was re-elected on March 2016 for another 7-year term. In 2017, Rwandan President Paul Kagame won with nearly 100% of the vote, securing a 3rd term in office. Kagame's re-election followed a constitutional amendment which ended a 2-term limit, allowing him to remain in power until 2034. Across in Burundi, Pierre Nkurunziza is also widely expected to take advantage of the recent changes to the constitution that would ideally allow him to stay in office until 2034. Perhaps more importantly, not all of Africa is dealing with the lack of democracy syndrome. Other countries are building stronger governance and leadership institutions. Ethiopia is rebranding and building stronger institutions. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has embarked on a series of reforms. Elsewhere, tens of millions of Africans are using the ballot box to deepen the quality of democratic governance and bring about political transitions. On January 24, 2019, Felix Tshisekedi was sworn in as the Democratic Republic of Congo's president, marking the country's first ever peaceful handover of power after multiple bitterly disputed elections. In Senegal, President Macky Sall easily won re-election. Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari easily won re-election in 2019. New South African President Cyril Ramaphosa is vowing to create jobs and to tackle deep-rooted corruption. Malawian President Peter Arthur Mutharika was sworn in for a 2nd term after a contentious election marred by allegations of fraud and vote rigging. Finally, Liberian President George Weah and the President of Sierra Leone, Julius Maada Bio, were both democratically elected through an open and transparent process. Paul Ndiho, VOA News, Washington.
Thanks, Paul, for that report.